Hi, this is Dr. Farley. In this video, I'm going to be going over my own blood work. I just set up brand new expanded panels, specialty panels. I invested a lot to get this information. I personally don't think there's a better investment than looking at your health, figuring out where you are, and then setting up a plan moving forward. Everyone is going to pay for their health care. You can either pay along the way or pay in the end. And by the time you get to the end, maybe a massive disease, a heart attack, something else, some type of degenerative disease, I'm definitely not playing by those rules. I'm going to try to invest in my health, take care of myself, so along the way I can grow old gracefully, have the energy that I want, perform at the level that I want, be there for my children and my family and my wife. And it's important to look at function. If all we do is go by how do you feel, how do you feel, how do you feel, then, and we're looking at waiting for you to get symptoms, that's one step above death, okay? So I'm not playing by those rules. I'm looking at my health and then determining what I'm doing with my health based on functional physiological tests, and the blood work is key here. So when you come in, if you decide to do this, you're going to get a full report of all your testing, whether that's the Super 7 testing or the expanded health panel or the specialty health panel. But I'm going to be going over today my expanded comprehensive health panel and specialty panel testing results. So first thing I want to let you know is, I've done testing on myself through various different labs. I just did some new testing, and there's many things that I found on this panel here that I was eating that need to be removed. If I eat something, for instance, this is the food, and this is an antibody. You should never, ever make an antibody against a food. This food should not get through the gastrointestinal system. If you have leaks, leaky gut, which I do, intestinal barrier permeability, which I do, then gradually over a time frame, these foods come in, your immune system tags it, and now you have a chronic sustained inflammatory response. This is the number one cause of all diseases across the board, is a sustained inflammatory response, which happens from foods and immune, and you keep eating them over and over and over again. So this is not allergy. This is sensitivities. This is an immune reaction. These are delayed reactions, and these delayed reactions destroy us over time. So I got a brand new food panel, and many things in here I was eating that I should not be eating. I also did a very detailed panel looking at peptide levels, and I found many things on here that were important. For instance, if I didn't look at this detailed panel, I would have missed that I have a dairy issue. So I've been doing gluten-free for a long time, probably 12, 15 years, and I'm very diligent with it. But I found in here many other things that I had to remove, and dairy was one, rice is another, rye, and then I'm also having massive reactions to wheat in general, not just the gluten. Okay, so we have to get real clear here. The celiac patients, 1% of people will be diagnosed with celiac. And as I say, celiac, who cares? It's only 1%. 95% of people are having non-celiac gluten sensitivity. I have that. Plus, I have massive reactions to other proteins in the wheat that no one's testing you for. Then I also, another big one for me too, was a big one that showed up on me was tobacco aquaporn. Now, where am I getting tobacco from? Well, when I grew up, my mother smoked cigarettes, 2-3 packs a day. Crazy. And my immune system has tagged tobacco. So every time now I come in contact with tobacco, I'm creating sustained inflammation. So that's likely where that came from. I also found many food additives, bisphenol A, blue number 2, green number 3, brilliant black. So where do these come from? Well, they're probably in some products that I was getting along the way because, I'm looking for gluten-free. I'm trying to eat well. But at sometimes you might see the color and jump over it. Well, bottom line is whether it's the food that got in that created the sustained inflammation, or now it's an additive that got in and creates the sustained inflammation. Either way, I better remove this to calm down my immune system, or I will destroy myself. My risk for cancer, heart disease, stroke, autoimmune, chronic pain, neurodegeneration, dementia, Parkinson's, neuropsychiatric issues, everything goes through the roof. So many things that I learned here. I also picked up on a lot of these gums that are put in. Now, gums are not necessarily a bad thing. Some of even the products that I have these gums in. Well, I found out, guess what? These gums were getting in because I have a leaky gut, and they're getting in, and now my immune system tagged it. So I even have to remove some of the nutritional products that I was taking that I thought were a good thing, but now the gums that are in there, which are fillers to give it a little bit of a consistency per se, my immune system has now tagged them, and I better remove them. Okay, we got that. So I showed no signs of anemia, which is good. I also tested myself for numerous autoimmune. I have 0, which is excellent. So it means my immune system is not so tweaked that now my own immune system tags my body. Autoimmune is bigger than cancer and heart disease combined. So that cancer and heart disease are about 22 million people a year, and autoimmune is about 25 million people a year. Autoimmune, first thing that happens is you make an antibody against the tissue inside of you. Thyroid is number 1 tissue. Gastrointestinal is number 2 tissue. By the way, I do have that. I have an antibody against my small intestine, so I do have one autoimmune. Third tissue is blood sugar, diabetes, insulin resistance, and fourth tissue is brain, spinal cord, and nerves. So, and I did show some of that as well that we're going to get to. But the initial panel that we looked at, which is the connective tissue panel, and these other panels, and the ANA panel, I'm negative. That's good. I also show a lot of lipid abnormalities from cholesterol, LDL, LDL, oxidative LDL. So lipid panels are off. Now, why do we see lipid panels go off? It's not from cholesterol. It's not from the idea that we need statins. This is not like this because we need statins. But what creates imbalances in the lipids? Thyroid dysfunction, I show some of that. Blood sugar issues, I show some of that. Essential fatty acid imbalance, I show some of that. And then HPA stress axis, and I show some of that. So I have 4 of the reasons to create these lipid abnormalities. Abnormal lipids are not primary causes. They are caused by some of those other root functional causes that we just talked about. Next thing, we looked at my blood sugar. And my fasting blood glucose is at a 109. Now, where should it be? About a 90. Now, I don't eat a lot of sweets whatsoever. And again, there's many different reasons as to why my blood sugar may be off, and I'm going to address all those. But my blood sugar is moving now in a pre-diabetes, diabetes type process, and I better figure out what's causing that. And one of the main things that's causing that is a chronic sustained inflammatory response that is driving up my stress response and driving up my blood sugar. Okay, we got that. Let me keep going here. Definitely found some functional thyroid abnormalities. Not that I'm a thyroid endocrinologist patient. I don't need Synthroid, but my thyroid is not optimal. And then there's things that we can do to make that a little bit better. On my CBC with differential, we show low white blood cells, chronic inflammation. We show low red blood cells, anemia. I have a megaloblastic anemia. I have a gut malabsorption issue. I have a methylation issue. Chronic stuff going on. Pretty good there. And then I ran a one genetic test called the MTHFR, methyl tetrahydrofolate reductase. It's an enzyme, and it's involved with methylation. I've run this on myself in the past, but I just ran it again. I have a 677 heterozygous, which means one gene is broken, and I have a 1298 homozygous, which means both genes are broken. My ability to methylate, just based on that, is about 30 to 40% of what it should be. If my lifestyle is terrible, I'm going to die early, because without proper methylation, and methylation is a CH3 group, my entire system breaks down. First thing that breaks down, I can't make proper energy. And I can tell you, since I've made these changes, I always was a pretty good energy guy, but my energy was starting to go down. It's dramatically improved since I made these changes. Number 2 is normal cell turnover, normal aging, and also no cancer process starting inside of me. So I'm working on that as well by fixing this stuff. Number 3 is chronic sustained inflammation, and I'm working on that. All chronic sustained inflammation starts where? The gut. What comes through the gut? The food. You'll never get that straight if you don't get the food and gut thing straight. And also, that's also part of improper methylation. And then lastly, methylation is involved with 2 primary neurotransmitters. Dopamine, which is the reward transmitter, and serotonin, which is the feel-good neurotransmitter, along with the 90% of serotonin that's made in the gastrointestinal system for proper GI function. So I'm working on that as well. I did a complete micronutrient panel on myself. In general, pretty good. Most things were in the green. Definitely found some abnormalities of things that we can fix. And I also found that my essential fatty acid balance is off. It's off in almost every single patient that I check. That essential fatty acid balance is involved with your cell wall function. It's involved with your prostaglandin function, your hormone function, your microbiome, your brain, your immune system, everything. And so I'm going to be changing my diet and adding certain nutrients in to work on that. We went through the Zoomers. We got that. Okay, yeah. Again, back to my gut. I have a very severe intestinal barrier permeability going on. There's multiple causes for that, and I'm correcting those causes right now. And after about 3 to 6 months, I'm going to retest this again to go back and make sure that I no longer have that, because that's not a good thing. That will break you down and cause you to die early for sure. What else we got? I want to be clear here again. I don't have a lot of allergies. Allergies are an immediate immune response to something. If you have it, you usually know it, meaning I come in contact with the trees, my eyes get red. I touch a cat, my skin flares up. I ate an apple and my mouth gets tingly or my lips swell. Those are not the immune responses that are killing everyone. What's killing everyone, and it drives all disease, is the delayed sensitivity reactions. Those are IgA, local mucosal responses, ear, nose, and throat, eyes, lungs, esophagus, stomach, small intestine, large intestine, anus, vagina, bladder, ureters, all of those areas. Anything, by the way, skin also. Anything that is wet has local antibodies called IgA there, and it's your mucosal first-line response. Then there's your IgM, systemic, short-term antibodies, and then your IgG, systemic long-term antibodies. And so I measured all of this, and again, we found many, many, many problems and things that I'm going to be working on to fix this. A lot of odd and many things that I was eating. By the way, what diet works for everybody? I just had someone call me up and say, hey, I think I'm going to go vegetarian. By the way, the results of that patient were dramatic. In 4 months, dramatic improvements. Start getting a little lazy. Get off the bandwagon. Go back to eating wrong, putting things back in that you know shouldn't be in because your immune system's responding to it. Pretty soon the results go down, down, down. And then we go online and we go, oh, you know what, let me try a new diet. Diets don't work because they're not specific to you or to me. It's ridiculous. So the idea that we can put some generalizations out there, maybe, but in general, if you miss 3 or 4 foods, for instance, for me, carrots, was I eating them? Yes. Romaine lettuce, was I eating them? Yes. Parsnips, was I eating them? Yes. And many other things. I better remove those or I'm going to die early. and it was creating chronic, sustained inflammatory responses inside of me. So you can't go by this South Beach diet, this keto diet, this paleo diet, or this vegetarian diet. It must be specific to you and your family member. I just ran all new blood work on myself, my wife, and my son. Very different reactions we are all having to different foods, okay? There's no way we can eat the same. No way. It's got to be specific. And by the way, if you're already sick and you have chronic problems, you have minimal time to make these changes. If you have multiple diagnoses already, you are one step above death. You must take action today. You're going to either pay money now or pay money later. I know plenty of people that have plenty of money in the bank. They should have invested in some great health care a long time ago, and they didn't do it. I also want to tell you, food additives again. Oh my God. I'm blown away by the amount of garbage that I found inside my body. Now, I'm a very high intense exerciser guy. I'm in great shape. I run around with 18-year-old guys playing soccer. I'm probably still the fittest guy on my team, and yet I have all of these issues going on. If I don't run blood work, if we don't look at function, we don't know where our health is. You cannot base your health on how you feel. I don't care whether you're fit and you can run, you can't base your health on how you feel. It's really ridiculous. Go to your medical doc and say, Doc, tell me how I'm doing. The medical doc tells me that I'm $1 million. $1 million. You're 54 years old. Everything is in perfect shape. They may want to throw a statin at me, which I would never take. That's another story. But besides that, there's nothing that any medical doc's going to tell me to improve on my health. Yet, when I do the deep analysis and I look at great functional blood work and great functional specialty tests, which is what we focus on here as one of the parameters, oh my gosh, is there a lot that I can do here to ensure my future health and make sure that I don't become one of these disease statistics. I'm not playing by those rules. So a lot of food additives, a lot of garbage inside my system that I'm going to work on getting out. And I'm going to stop there because that's about enough. This is probably going to be at least 2 more videos. So this is Dr. Farley Bloodwork #1. Any questions, as always, let me know. Thanks.